Hello everyone, welcome back to another session of Bootstrap tutorial. In today's class, I will be discussing about button group. Button group, to create button groups in Bootstrap. So you have the following classes. The first class is btn group. By using this class, you will be able to create a button group, and you can actually make the button group large button group, or you can also make the button group small. So then you can also make the button group vertical. So there is another class which is btn-group-vertical. So you can also make the button groups. We'll see if you're having multiple button groups, how they will look like. So they will be by default, the button groups are inline. So I'll show you that also. And again, I'll show you how to nest button groups to create a drop down menus. So these are all the concepts that we're going to see today. So let me get started. So I have taken the this template, right? Everybody know this template. So this is HTML document. So inside this document, I have included the CSS, HTML, and JavaScript links and the script in the head tag. And whatever I need to write, I need to give it in the body tag. So inside the body tag, I have just created a container, and I have given the margin from top to be 3. Okay, right. So now I'll be creating the button group. Before creating the button group, I'll just create the normal button and I'll show you, and then I'll create the group. Okay. So to create the button, I need to open the button tag, and I have to say type is equal to button, then class is equal to, so I need to say btn and then btn hyphen. So whatever button you want to create, so I want to create success button, so which is a green color button. So then I'm closing it, and then I am saying computer. So then close the button over here. So the name of the button will be computer. Okay, so let me actually show this how it looks on the browser. So this is how it is looking. So if I'm not giving this margin MT3, so I'll show you what will happen. So it actually goes on top. Okay, so there won't be any margin on top. So I want margin on top, so that's why I gave MT3. Okay, so now it will be down like this. And so let me create 2 more buttons. Let me create 2 more buttons. So let me copy this and create 2 more buttons. So I have created 2 more buttons, and let me name this as okay, kitchen, and these are like electronics. Okay, so I just made 3 buttons. So one is computer, and the other one is kitchen, and the other one is electronics. So you can see that all the 3 buttons appeared, but there is gap between these buttons because the buttons are not grouped together. So now let us use the btn group. So to create the btn group, so these 3 are the buttons, right? So I just need to create the btn group above it. Okay, so here I'm saying div class is equal to, so div class is equal to btn group. Okay, so div class is equal to btn group, and let me close this, and let me close this div here after the 3 buttons. So I have closed the div here. So now I'll be showing it. So I'm reloading it on the browser. So observe it very carefully. So as I observe, you can see all the 3 buttons are now grouped together. So there is no gap between the buttons because the buttons are now grouped together. So this is the first class which is grouping the buttons together using the btn group. Now I'll show you how to actually make the buttons large. So in here, so inside this div where I said class is equal to btn group, I'm using other class which is btn. So btn hyphen group hyphen lg. Okay, so wherein I'll be getting large buttons. So I'll reload this. Please do observe it carefully. So as I reload it, you can see that the size of the buttons now have increased. Okay, so the button group, all the buttons, this class applied the large property to all the buttons. Okay, so all the buttons became big. Okay, so if I say them to be small, So I'm using the small property now. So what is the small property? The small property is btn-lg-sm. So when I give this property, so let me actually reload it. So as I reload it, you can see the size of the buttons are small. Okay. So let me show this practically to you. So this is the first button group, right? So let me actually give the first button group wherein I'm making it as small, and the next button group I'm just keeping it as default, and the next button group I'm keeping it as large. Okay, so I'm making this as LG. Okay, so let me actually load it once again, so you can see that this is the small. So let me give a break here. Okay, so now you can see that okay, so you can see that this is the small group and this is the default button group, and this is the large button group. Okay, so these are the two classes. So we have seen two classes now. The first one is the btn group, and then we have seen the other class, which is btn-group-lg, and then btn-group-sm. So we'll see one more class. Okay, so let me just clear them off. So let me just keep one group. Okay, so this is the group I am keeping. Okay, so I will take off this LG, and what I'll do is I'll say button btn group vertical. So I'll make this group as vertical. Okay, so I'm making the button group as vertical. Okay, so you can see the button group has become vertical. So earlier it was like horizontal. So now it has become vertical. So let me just take off this btn group and keep the btn group vertical. So you can see that I can simply write btn-group-vertical. Okay, so when I do that, I'll be getting the buttons in the vertical direction. So next we'll see two groups of buttons and how they will look when we keep it on the browser. So this is the first group of the button. So let me actually take this btn vertical and all that. So I'll be just taking this off. So this is the first group, right? So this is the first group of buttons, and I'll take one more group of buttons. Okay, so this is the other group of buttons. I already have shown you in the large and all that. Okay, right. So these are the two groups of buttons. You can see like the one below the other. So when you are having two button groups, so these are two button groups, button group 1 and button group 2. So they'll appear side by side. So they are inline by default, but when you just adjust, they will be coming to the next line. So when I pull it, make the screen medium or small and all that, they'll be coming one below the other. But by default, they'll be inline. So meaning that they'll be one after the other. So this is the next concept that I want to discuss. And so the next concept is where we'll be creating nesting of the buttons. So I'll show you how to do that. So I'll take off all this. So we require the div of the container and the div of the button group. Okay. So in between this, I'll be creating the buttons. So I'll take one button. So button, then type is equal to button, and then class is equal to, so what is the class? Class is btn, and I'm taking btn primary. Okay, so then I'm closing this tag, and then I am saying computer. Okay, so I'll just keep computer, and then I'll close this button tag. Okay, so I'll create one more button for kitchen. Okay, I'll create one more button for the kitchen. So this is the kitchen button. Okay, inside the button group. Okay, so this is the kitchen. So now I will create one more button with the drop down option. So to do that, I am actually creating one more button group. So I'm saying div. So I'll be taking div, and then class is equal to btn group. So btn group. So I'm taking one more group here. So here I'll be taking the button and the drop down together. So in here, so I'm saying button, then type is equal to, so what is the type? Type is equal to button. And then I'm saying class is equal to, so what is the class? The class is btn. And what is the type that I require? I require a primary button. So I'm saying btn-primary. And what I require a drop down toggle. Okay, so I require a drop down button to, so I need a triangle like thing, right? So to create the triangle, inverted triangle, which will actually, when you click on it, like a drop down list will open for you. To create that triangle, you require this class, which is drop down toggle. Okay, so then I require one more attribute, which is data hyphen bs hyphen, so which is toggle. So this is the attribute is equal to, so I need to make a connection to the drop down list. So that's what I'm doing here. So is equal to drop down. So this is the attribute I require. And then now I am naming the button. So what is the name of the button? Which is electronics. And then close this particular button tag. So I close the button tag and now I am creating the drop down. So to create the drop down menu, I'm saying div class is equal to, so what is the class? So the class is a drop down menu. Okay, so drop down hyphen menu. Okay, so detailed understanding of all these classes is there in my video, which is drop down menu, drop down bootstrap. So you can watch that video and come back. Okay, so then I said div class is equal to drop down menu, and then I'll be creating the drop downs. Okay, so I'm taking an anchor tag, and I said class is equal to, so inside this anchor tag I'm making the items. So what are the items? How I'll be creating it? I'll be saying drop down hyphen item. Okay, so drop down hyphen item, and then give the href. So as of now, I don't have any links. I didn't create any links. So I'm closing this particular href and any electronic goods. Okay, so I'm saying TV, then close this anchor tag and give one more item. So I'll give one more item here. Uh, so here, instead of TV, I'll be saying oven, okay, or washing machine or anything. Okay, so I just have given them. Okay, so how many divs I require? So I need to close this div, right? Okay, I require one more div here, right? So what did I do here? So let me just explain you what I have done. I have taken a button. So I'll show you the output and I'll explain. So the first thing I did over here is, so let me just, so this is the button I have created for this particular computer. Okay, so I said button inside the button group. Okay, so inside the button group, I have, so this button group started from here and this button group ended here. And so the scope of this entire button group, within this entire button group, I have created all these three. All these three are inside the button group. So the scope of the button div has started here and it ended over here. So in between this, what I did, I have taken one button which is of button primary and I named the button to be computer. So this is computer. And next I created one more button which is of btn primary and I named it as kitchen. So this is kitchen. Okay, so this is the second button I made. Now coming to the third button is a combination. So this is a button and this is the drop down option. Okay, so this is the drop down toggle and this is a button. So there is a combination of these two. So that is why we created one more button group here. So this button group started over here and ended here. In between this, what did we do? We have created a button and named it as electronics, and we added this drop down toggle to it. Okay, we added this drop down toggle to it and we connected this menu to this particular toggle by using this attribute which is data hyphen bs hyphen toggle, wherein I said is equal to drop down. So now inside div I am saying drop down menu, and then inside this menu I gave these two items as links. Okay, so this is what I have done. So let me clear this off and show you what will happen when I bring my mouse on top of this particular drop down toggle. Okay, so when I bring over here and click this, so I'll be getting the drop down options. Okay, so TV and oven, and as I click, so you can see like I got the hand pointer, which represents that this is a link. If it is not a hand pointer, you'll if it is not a link, you won't be getting the hand pointer. You'll be just getting the pointer of the mouse. Okay, so this is what I have done. So let me just take off this drop down toggle and show you what will happen. So I'm removing this drop down toggle. I just removed this drop down toggle, and let me load this and show you. So as I load, you can see that there is no this inverted triangle and all that. So by keeping this class, okay, so what is the class that I need to keep to bring that drop down toggle one is that drop down hyphen toggle. Okay, so by keeping this class, I'll be getting that drop down option. Okay, so it is drop down. So let me actually reload it, so you can see that I got this one. Okay, right. So this is how you will be grouping drop downs and buttons together in the button group. I hope this video is helpful to you. Thank you for watching.